Man, PirateSoftware is truly a gift that keeps on giving. Honestly, it feels like each time I blink, this man gets into another controversy. And apparently he tried to start 2026 by having a little bit of a comeback, and it all backfired on him very hard. Now, I got this video recommended to me by YouTube, and I guess I'm about to find out why. Now, that being said, this man is literally incapable of taking a W. I've never seen anything like this before, and it's just hilarious to see each time it happens, because he's truly a specialist when it comes to snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But, you know, with that out of the way, let's see what PirateSoftware got himself entangled with this time.
The level of stupid that I just had to receive
these are
wants
the
me
classics.
to sit down, grovel on my knees, and be like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Yamato."
You make a bad poll, you make a bad call, that's on you.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro.
Oh, okay, thank God he didn't show his response. I would have literally blew a gasket right at the beginning. It's so crazy. I've watched the entire 3 hours interview with Dr. K, which is a phenomenal human being. And, bro, I honestly don't know how he held that long. It's crazy. I would have flipped. I would have literally lost my mind speaking with this man for more than 30 minutes. It's insane.
So PirateSoftware pretty much tanked his entire reputation, disappeared for a while, and then came back thinking everyone just forgot. But his comeback backfired so spectacularly that he's basically speedrunning his own downfall for a second time. So the internet's favorite Bob Ross of coding just proved he learned absolutely nothing from losing almost 90% of his audience last year.
And you know what's funny? It's all so easily solvable. If instead of banking on the fact that people would forget about you, which they won't because you're a huge lulcow and you're just bound to fail over and over and over again because you have an hyper-inflated ego. No, instead of doing that, all you need to do is take a short break, come back with a video of you saying sorry to anyone you did wrong to, and that's it. Everyone would honestly give you a new path to succeed. Now, it won't be the same as it used to before because now people are always going to be look at you with a magnifying glass, but you'll have an opportunity. You'll have a second chance. All you have to do is genuinely apologize and admit to your faults. And that's it. People would honestly give you a second chance, but he's incapable of doing so. Yeah, it is what it is.
Because at one point, PirateSoftware was riding high as this wholesome tech guru who supposedly worked at Blizzard for 7 years and had 20 years of game dev experience.
Really? He never said anything about this.
He was pulling millions of views with his coding tips and game dev wisdom.
Take your mouse and you put your mouse inside of MS Paint, and then you hold spacebar, and then you use the arrow keys, you can draw like an Etch-a-Sketch. And people didn't know this. MS Paint is king. MS Paint is my favorite program ever. And all you have to do afterwards is you just take it and you shake it up.
But then the cracks started showing when he abandoned his teammates in a World of Warcraft raid, got exposed for terrible coding practices, tried to kill the Stop Killing Games movement with blatant misinformation, and basically revealed himself as someone who cannot admit fault about anything ever.
Yes. And this is just a very short summary of everything he's done. You can literally take each bullet point he made about PirateSoftware just now, and it's an entire story that can last for hours. Okay? Like, this man is delving into the abyss. It's crazy. Like, he's been debunked and proven wrong like a million times on each topic that he ever spoke of, which is insane. I mean, to be honest, to a certain degree, it's commendable.
Actually do any coding. The code is just visually there on the screen. And 98% of the actual stream is him looking at his subscribers, looking at his tip jar as to how much money people have sent him, and also looking at videos about games, but never actually doing any game development in a dev stream.
So, by the end of 2025, his viewership had crashed harder than Cyberpunk on launch day. But then January 2026 rolls around and Pirate decides it's time for a fresh start. But instead of actually learning from his mistakes or showing any growth whatsoever,
he quadrupled down like he always do. I bet that's what he's about to say.
He immediately started doing the exact same things
that
destroyed his reputation in the first place. The year kicked off with what I can only describe as a masterclass in how not to handle copyright law. Pirate got into it with a smaller indie developer who
Why? Why does he try to be good in anything? Oh my god! He's trying to play the tech guy, the developer, the programmer, the hacker, now the lawyer? Come on, dog. You can be all of these things all at once. Even a lawyer can be a lawyer for anything. That's why they have specialties. It's so cringe watching this man-child just doing all of that. Dude, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I swear to God, if it wasn't more funny than it would have been sad, I would never watch these videos. They honestly sometimes just make me feel mad. And if you ask why it makes me feel mad, because it's so annoying seeing someone being successful at what you want to do and just throwing it all away in a span of a couple of months over the most frivolous thing ever. Like, it's so annoying. I mean, it is what it is, guys. I have to admit, I'm envious. It just truly is. I wish I was in that position. I would have never given up like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. One day I hope that I will, because I'll do anything to be in that position, right? And by anything, I don't mean like the weird stuff, okay? I mean, like, I'll try my best to improve. That's why I'm working on my linguistic skills by the day. And yeah, I mean, that's just what we have to do. But he had it so quick because he had all of these things going on with the shorts and stuff. And he was the first man to jump on it, which kudos to him. He figured it out. I mean, that's great for him. But he just threw it all away. It just feels so bad to see from the side, man.
made a game demo. Now, here's where it gets ridiculous. Pirate accused this developer of using his voice in their game without permission.
Roach.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
And immediately filed a DMCA takedown. He even went on stream acting all tough about it, saying things like, "We're going to take you to court, you're going to lose, you cannot use somebody's likeness without permission," trying to be all intimidating and stuff.
He's right about that, by the way. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but he's 100% right about this. I mean, you can't use someone like this, as far as I understand, right? I may be wrong about this. I don't know, somehow, but I've seen lawsuits that were actually successful taking down stuff because of this exact thing. So I'm just assuming this is right as well.
We have to file a legal complaint.
That being said, the game itself did not contain his voice. So that's the difference here. It's only for the video.
Against that dude earlier. So I filed a DMCA claim, and he has now filed a counterclaim against me. We're going to take you to court. You're going to lose. You cannot use somebody's likeness or voice in any way inside of your games without their permission.
Brother, who's we? You only talk about yourself here. Who's we? Who else was there? It was only you on that chair. What are you talking about?
Except there was one tiny problem with Pirate's Big Boy Act. Because the audio he was complaining about wasn't even in the game's public demo.
Exactly. And that's the caveat here. Because if his voice was in the demo, he would have been liable to actually follow a lawsuit, right? He would have been liable, and the guy who made that game would have been in big trouble. That is true.
It literally didn't exist in the version anyone could download. The developer was using a private development build that featured the audio as a placeholder joke, but it was never released to the public. And under DMCA law, you're supposed to do a good faith fair use analysis before filing, which Pirate apparently skipped that step entirely in his rush to flex on someone with way less money. And
you cannot connect PirateSoftware with the words good faith, okay? It would never work. It's an oxymoron. It cannot exist.
Influence than him. Now, this whole situation got so bad that a lawyer stepped in pro bono to help the small developer fight back against Pirate's legal threats.
Oh, damn, that's
Just
nice.
think about that for a second. A random Good Samaritan lawyer saw what was happening and went, "Nah, this isn't right," and offered free legal help because Pirate was essentially bullying.
Pro bono cases are like a charity case, as far as I understand it. Lawyers don't really like to do them, but, you know, they kind of have to, I believe, because there's a quota. But, I mean, it's nice this guy actually did that for him. That's great. And actually, this is a pretty important case, too, because you can get publicity for free on YouTube. So I guess he was smart doing that. But still, damn, kind of nice of him.
In this smaller indie dev. The end result was that the DMCA got walked back, but did Pirate apologize or admit he was wrong? Come
Of course
on,
not.
This is PirateSoftware we're talking about, of course not. Instead, he doubled down, claimed it wasn't a false DMCA, and acted like everyone else was just too stupid to understand copyright law. But the internet was not impressed, to say the least.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? He always doubles down. I think at this point, if you calculate each time he doubled down, the numbers would have been in the thousands. I mean, what can you say, man? It just, he can't take, I mean, he just can't take a W. He cannot take a W. I've never seen anything like this before.
People who'd given him the benefit of the doubt before started saying things like he uses his wealth and platform to bully smaller creators instead of supporting them.
Absolutely. Why would he support anyone but himself? And by the way, I'm sorry for pausing constantly. I have so many things to say about this man right here. I don't want to use everything all at once, but I will say this. Narcissistic people do not care about anyone but themselves. Why would he ever support a smaller content creator without it making himself look better? Okay? He would never do that. He would never support someone from the shadows. The only person he supported from the shadows was himself. When he did the Twitch train thing, he paid his own moderators to keep donating money to keep the Twitch train rolling, and it's so cringe. It was so cringe. This man doesn't care about anyone or anything but himself or anything related to him.
Keep in mind that,
and that's why he's trying to keep face and save his image every time he feels like it's protected. Hence, you know, the game DMCA shenaniganry.
Before any controversy, Pirate was positioned as some wholesome,
and that's also why he fakes his goddamn voice. Guys, I'm over it. Okay, I'm not pausing it.
guy who helped
That's
other
it. That's
developers.
it.
But if you thought that was bad, unfortunately, we're just getting started. Because in late January and early February, Pirate hosted Pirate Jam 18, a game jam event that participants have since labeled one of the worst managed popular jams in recent memory. And the reasons why are actually insane.
Oh, God.
First off, he disabled all the community features on itch.io. Like, the entire point of a game jam is for developers to play and review each other's work, build community, and get feedback. But Pirate said nah, and killed the public rating system and karma features. So immediately there was zero incentive for participants to actually engage with the event properly. Then comes the judging process, which was somehow even worse. Judges reportedly spent as little as 5 minutes per game. Bruh. 5 minutes for games that developers had poured endless hours of work into. There were over 400 entries, and the judging was so rushed, it was basically meaningless. But here's the real issue. During his top pick streams, where he showcased his favorite entries, Pirate showed massive favoritism. He'd barely make it through some games' tutorials, spending maybe 2 minutes before moving on. But then he'd spend 30 minutes playing games that featured his pet ferrets or looked similar to his own project Heartbound. So the bias was so obvious it hurt to watch. Because developers...
Oh, God. Guys, it all connects to what I told you just a few minutes ago. This man cannot help anyone but himself. Anything that doesn't elevate himself, he would just won't support. I mean, he just want to feel better than everyone else. It's so obvious. I don't know how people still support him. It's insane. To be fair, he has almost no one left. But even like 4K, 5K people that watches him on a daily basis, bro, that's cringe. How can you endure that? What in God's name? If you're a Pirate fan, please let me know. What do you think? Like, please actually let me understand. Let me get into the deepest parts of your mind and let me know what the hell do you find so entertaining about this guy. I actually want to know.
Who'd worked their butts off and followed the rules perfectly got completely ignored, while games that pandered to Pirate's personal interests got showered with attention. And when people started posting constructive criticism about this obvious favoritism in the reviews, Pirate's moderation team went nuclear. They started deleting critical reviews and permanently banning developers from all PirateSoftware spaces for simply pointing out that the judging seemed unfair. So let me repeat that. People entered a game jam, followed all the rules, gave honest feedback about the process, and got permanently banned from every PirateSoftware community for their trouble. Yeah, that's not how you build goodwill.
And you know what? At least he can't go minus goodwill because he's already hit rock bottom. So I guess he just staying consistent. You know what? I applaud him. Why not? YouTube like consistency. So he's doing just that. That is incredible, truly. Build a game jam, give developers a 5 minute of your time per game, and then judge everything unfairly because it didn't cater to you. incredible, truly magnificent. A man of merit and wow, totally goodwill. Like, oh, beautiful, beautiful. I like that.
That's how you build a reputation as someone who can't handle any criticism whatsoever. But this is PirateSoftware we're talking about, so we already knew that. He's just doubling down once again. So the backlash was immediate. Former participants were calling the whole thing disrespectful and poorly organized. One developer summed it up perfectly by saying the judging felt performative rather than genuine, and that Pirate seemed more interested in promoting his own brand than actually celebrating indie games. But wait, there's more. Because just when you'd think Pirate would maybe take a step back and reflect on these back-to-back disasters,
Oh,
he
not
decided
again.
to wade into the Ashes of Creation collapse. And
Oh, we
this
watched
is where
that.
things get truly baffling. So, on February 1st, 2026, Ashes of Creation, this massive Kickstarter MMO that had been in development for 10 years, completely imploded. The studio laid off its entire staff without final paychecks. The CEO resigned, and the whole thing was an absolute disaster that looked like a textbook pump and dump scam to anyone paying attention. Players
Well, when you put it like that, but if you go just a few months back, you can see this game had a ton of potential. It had all of these things that did not exist. It had, oh man, it could have been so great. Just, oh, if Steven had way more money. It's not like 100 milli wasn't enough. I mean, oh god, we were so close to greatness.
who'd invested hundreds or even thousands of dollars were left with nothing, and the entire gaming community was rightfully furious. People were calling out the developers, demanding refunds, sharing their stories of being scammed. It was a legitimate tragedy for everyone who'd believed in the project, and then PirateSoftware rolled up to defend the developer. He jumped on social media, claiming the game was
What?
doing just fine until the last few months. He positioned himself as this insider authority figure who knew better than everyone else about what really happened, and basically tried to gaslight people into thinking it wasn't as bad as it clearly was. But the audacity of trying to defend a studio that literally didn't pay its employees their final checks is genuinely disgusting. People then accused Pirate of making himself the center of a tragedy that had nothing to do with him. They pointed out the massive irony of someone who spent years criticizing AAA studios for lack of transparency, now defending a project that spectacularly failed its players and employees.
It's almost like these type of people are only trying to virtue signal and nothing else. Interesting, huh? I recently covered a game about that. And yeah, you can see, once you start connecting the dots, everything makes sense. It just, the way these people are, that's why you should never give them the light of day, and you should just point fingers and laugh. That's it. Not at them specifically. I'm not saying you should never go after somebody and do like weird stuff. Obviously, I'm completely against that. But whenever you see these type of situations unfold, you need to call out bad actors. Always. And that's what I will always do here on this channel. Whenever I see someone acting in bad faith, I'm gonna call them out. Because that's what we do here. And I mean, oh god, like PirateSoftware, man, this man is incapable of acting in good faith one time. And I really wish he would have a second conversation with Dr. K, Healthy Gamer GG, for those who want to look up his channel. And I really want to hear him reflecting on everything that happened in the past 2 years. That would be the most interesting thing ever. I would really want to see that for myself, but it will never happen because he knows once he goes up there again, he's cooked. He's absolutely cooked.
Some people even speculated that Pirate had a financial interest in defending Ashes since he'd been a massive promoter of the game and had referral codes that would have earned him money if it succeeded. Now, whether that's true or not...
No, not really. He just wanted to be portrayed as the guy who knew Ashes was going to be successful and he called it early and he went against everyone. When everyone called Ashes bad and a scam, he was the one who stood above them all and said otherwise. You know, he wanted to be seen as kind of like the messiah of Ashes, and yeah, that ain't going to fly, Chief. And by the way, when Ashes imploded, he tried to cash in on their downfall as well. He actually tried to play it off as, oh, I was always against it. I always called out some weird bugs and stuff. And yeah, they ignored me, so hey, screw them. Like, dude, who cares how many bugs you reported, you loser? Like, why are you acting this way? Like, who actually cares? You supported a game almost until the very end, and now that it's actually down and burning at the stake, you're suddenly trying to claim otherwise? We have the receipts, homie. It doesn't matter how many posts you remove. People have screenshots. People seen what you said on Discord and all that stuff. It's just so weird that he's trying to wipe out evidence whenever he knows everything online these days is being downloaded the moment you upload it. It doesn't matter if I upload a dumb video and I instantly delete it, I know someone is gonna have a saving of it. Like, he saved it, right? He's gonna have it saved somewhere down his PC, and I'm cooked. I'm cooked. If I ever try to claim otherwise, I'm screwed. That's why whenever I upload a video, I'm always careful about the things that I say, but at the same time, I'm just not a stupid person. Well, I'm a stupid person. Obviously, I'm trying to make it out as a content creator, but not to that degree, okay? I'm not arrogant enough to test my luck against the internet. It just ain't going to fly. Whenever I'm not certain about a certain topic, I'm just not going to talk about it. Or I'm going to say, hey, listen, this is my opinion for now, but take it with a grain of salt, because I'm not really sure what I'm saying. Just like when I did with PirateSoftware and the coding stuff, right? People clown on PirateSoftware being spaghetti code and all that stuff. I look at this and I go, listen, guys, you may be right, but I don't know. Because I'm not a developer. I don't know how to read code. I look at this and it looks smart to me, but at the same time, many people have told me it was spaghetti code and it was really bad. So based off what they told me, I say, hey, I think it's bad because people told me so, but I don't know anything about it. So if you can explain it to me, I would like that. That would be great. But it's just one example. Basically, I'm just saying, if you're putting yourself out there online, you have certain responsibility. And if you think you can just remove comments, ban people, and it will solve your problems, you're dead wrong.
The optics were still terrible. When a game that people spent real money on completely collapses and screws over both players and employees, that's probably not the hill you want to die on. But it gets even messier. Because Writers Ashes was imploding and employees were losing their jobs,
he's gonna talk about that.
decided to publicly throw one of those employees under the bus. Margaret Crone, who'd been a community manager for Ashes, had dealt with Pirate months earlier when he reported players harassing him in-game. She'd explained they had a small mod team and were backlogged, and that not every harassment report results in permanent bans on first offense, which is a pretty reasonable response. But when people started questioning...
To be fair, he's missing context here, and again, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but this is important. The people that PirateSoftware reported were actually like giga harassing people, and they were saying some of the most horrendous crap ever, and they deserve to be permabanned on the spot. There is no dispute here. So PirateSoftware was right to report him. And again, it's not me trying to defend him. It just, I want to be fair, okay? You can always come here to find a fair take. Fair and base takes, okay? I just want to be true. I don't want to crap on someone all day without giving them, like, praise, not praises, just credit for the one good thing they actually did.
In Pirate's defense of Ashes, he leaked their entire DM conversation and accused Margaret of lying about how she'd handled his reports. Except when people actually read the leaked DMs, it became
okay, that part was bad, not the reporting stuff.
obvious Pirate had completely misrepresented what she said. She was talking about harassers calling him names, not getting permabanned, while Pirate claimed she was talking about death threats against LGBTQ players. So he basically...
No, these people were around. He just reported both, but he was mad about one thing, not the other.
Lied about the timeline to make himself look like the victim. And he did all this while Margaret had just lost her job and was trying to help her former co-workers find work. So Pirate's pettiness and ego on display was astonishing. Because what makes this whole comeback attempt even more pathetic is that none of this is new behavior. This is exactly what got Pirate in trouble last year. The refusal to admit mistakes, the condescending attitude toward anyone who disagrees with him, and the need to always be right, even when he's obviously wrong. I mean, the guy had months to reflect, work on himself, and maybe develop some humility or self-awareness. Instead, he came back and immediately started the exact same cycle. It's gotten so bad that the internet even has a term for this now. They're calling him a glorified lulcow, which is brutal, but honestly pretty accurate. Because a lulcow is someone who consistently generates drama and mockery through their own actions while seemingly being oblivious to how they're perceived. And that's exactly what Pirates...
He's not oblivious, he just doesn't care. And he dismisses every single piece of criticism against him as hatred. And that's it, that's really the main problem. In his own mind, he can do no wrong. And when these people are faced with reality, they just cave in. Now, back in the old days, people like this did not have the privilege of being so highly regarded because you didn't have the internet. You actually had to be in front of someone's face and said these dumb things right to their face. And you know what used to happen? Well, I can say it on YouTube because I would have been banned. But you know what I'm saying? And basically, these people would have never said those things in real life. But now that you have the power of the internet, you're not really connected to the real world. You can afford to be more disconnected from it. You can ban anyone who disagrees with you. You can even ban people who just slightly criticize you. And you can create your own bubble in which you're shielded from the outside world. And that's what Pirate is doing. That's what, to be honest, every big streamer is doing as well. It's not exclusively to him. Yeah, everyone's doing it. At the end of the day, it's just what naturally happens. But it is what it is, man. He curated his own community, and you can't really blame him for that. This man is clearly narcissistic, you know, at least in my opinion. And that's what they do. That's the modus operandi. You can't really blame them for it. Or you can, and just laugh.
Become. Every time he tries to defend himself or assert his authority, he just digs the hole deeper. So looking at his metrics tells the whole story. His YouTube views have cratered from millions per video to barely 5,000 on most uploads.
Jesus.
His Twitch viewers...
He's running the same numbers as I do. Yikes. That's humiliating. Holy.
Dropped from averaging 10,000 viewers to 3,000 on good days. And he's lost almost 700,000 subscribers. So unless Pirate can somehow develop the self-awareness to recognize his own patterns and actually change his behavior, this isn't a comeback. It's just the second act of career suicide. And based on everything we've seen so far, that level of personal growth seems about as likely as Heartbound getting finished anytime soon. But what do you guys think? Can PirateSoftware ever actually recover from this? Or is his career as a respected voice in gaming permanently over?
It's only over because he wants it to be over. If he actually came out and did an apology video, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, he would have been forgiven. I mean, he wouldn't have been instantly forgiven, but he would have been given a second chance. 100%. 100% he could have went on a redemption arc. But it would never happen. Like, never. Because that's who the person is. He's willing to die on every single hill if he thinks that he's right. No matter what anyone else will say. And if you try to disprove him, he would just ban you. Like, that's it. It's that simple. But yeah, I dragged this video long enough. I don't even know how I managed to turn a 12-minute video into like so many. Oh god, I feel so bad. Regardless, it was a good video. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. You guys can watch it for yourself. Give it a like. It was incredible. I enjoyed it a lot. I did not expect PirateSoftware to start 2026 with a little controversy, but I guess that's one just on me. You can never see what this man is up to next.